All right, so we are. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. It is Wednesday morning in Australia, Tuesday evening if you are on the other side of the world. I am live again on Women Unleashed, and today I am so fortunate to have a beautiful lady come on board with me to talk to you about creating intergenerational transformation through the power of our life experiences and the journey that we've been through. So, what we do in this series is we talk about stories, we talk about life challenges, we talk about aha moments and breakthroughs and strategies and wisdom and friendship and family and love and pain and grief, everything. So it's like a very free flowing conversation. And this has been running since January of 2022. And what's really come out of this series so far is an energy of knowing that each and every woman, she does have lived experiences that is not so different, but that is very similar to many other lived experiences. And there is an essence of connectedness, there is an essence of oneness, there is an essence of universal love that really gets us through. But for many different variations of lives, cultures and conditionings and age and family situations, this oneness can look a little bit different in textures and in energy and in color. So, my intention is when I speak to my guests, we just explore the feelings and the events and our wisdom that we have gained and the lessons that we want to share with other people. And so today I'm very, very fortunate. I have a beautiful woman. Her name is Karen Mooney Lasher, and she is what you would, what we call a frontline firefly. And what really that means is that Karen is out there, involved in communities, involved in hands-on, like direct with actual people, and really helping them, not in a macro way, but in a very intimate way is how I can imagine it. And Karen will tell us more about that in a minute. And so I cannot wait. She is also what most people would call the dancing lady, because it's a beautiful thing that she shares a lot. And so I can't wait to ask her about that as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna shift the view to gallery view. Karen, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for being here, my love. How are you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am wonderful. It's good to be here. It's good to be in your energy, and it's lovely. Thank you.
That is my absolute pleasure. Karen, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Also, where you're hailing from, because I was looking up your location 2 days ago, and I'm thinking it's very cold where you are. um, so, what's your life story?
Yeah, I live in a little town called Camas, Washington, and it is on the Columbia River, which is a river that is the border between Oregon and Washington in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And so, yes, it's wet and rainy here, but that keeps it beautifully green. I, I live at an entrance to what's called the Columbia River Gorge. It's just a spectacularly beautiful, beautiful, beautiful location. But it's mostly it's a suburban area of Portland, Oregon. So for most people, that would be the what they would recognize is Portland, Oregon. And I am a hospitality professional. I was lucky to realize that very early in my life in college, that was my gift, was to make people comfortable, to feed them, to care for them, to help them have fun. Yeah. So now it's really just been a continual flow of what that looks like in my life. It's been owning my own business as a restaurant, catering, cooking school kind of place, to now, working on the front lines as a barista, as a lift attendant at a ski resort, in the very simplest of jobs. And that's been for me just I can't even, it was a silver lining in a very tough time, you know, when I had to close my business. And I thought that life was never going to be the same. And it wasn't. And it was going to be far better than I ever imagined.
Mm. You
So,
make it sound,
yeah.
you make it sound just, so you kind of like wrap that story in a really beautiful bow. You make it sound like, oh, okay, it's all good now. But I know, I know that your story has been quite a journey. So you mentioned that, you know, you've been lucky to have realized your passion early on. But yes, you are back in your passion now, doing what really matters for the people that you care and you love. But in between the realization when you were young and now that you are, you know, living fully to the present moment, there's this big, massive journey that had made you become the woman that you are. And so I guess it's really everything is energy and moment to moment, right? This is how you live.
Mhm.
This is what I believe. It's the book that changed my life is called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So we do, you, between you and I, we know. So in this moment now, Karen, what are you called to share with us in and amongst all those big journeys? What are you called to share with us? Which experience was a big catalyst?
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I can even pin it to one experience. It's the whole thing. It's the journey. Yeah. um, and not just the journey. You know, I've had a lot of challenges in my life. Um, from my first, you know, from my first sexual experience was date rape, and then shortly after that, I was had an encounter with a serial killer. That's the most the most polite way to put that. You know, some very traumatic early in my life experiences that sort of created its own spin, as I tried to deal with that as a young person. At the same and so also at the same time recognizing now as I look back how much my life has been dictated by the societal norms and the conditioning and the programming of society, that this is what you do, this is, you know, it's like that you know, you get married, you have, you know, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you know, you get these certain jobs, right? If you're looking to be someone, if you're looking to be successful, you do, right, you do this, you get married, you have kids, you mow your front lawn, you know, you know what, that kind of thing. And recognizing now as I've gone through this journey is that that doesn't really fit me. And that the most powerful thing has been coming into this true sense of myself and this true sense of who I am and who I've been designed as, and what that place is in the world. And that feels so incredibly powerful to get to a place where I struggled for a long time thinking that uh you know, the reason all those things happen to you is because you deserve those things to happen to you. Um, and coming to that point, it's like, no, those are just things that happen to you. They don't change who you are. They don't change that you're this beautiful masterpiece, that we all are these beautiful masterpieces of creation. That's my central belief. Um, and so learning that in every struggle, you're still there. You're still that beautiful masterpiece. That what happens outside you can never change what happens inside you. Like you know, that beauty of who you are. And so that's been a very powerful, a very powerful force for me
Mm.
to kind of continue to walk that. And I like to encourage people to also, you know, to do that as well, to find who they are in their truth. I call it, you know, stand in your truth of who you are, and know that whatever that is, it's worthy and it's valuable and it's essential. um yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing how life is ironic. It really is because
Mhm.
we have to go through pain and struggle to force us to come back to the beauty, the masterpiece, the pure essence inside of us. Because otherwise, if we were to walk along life with no struggle, with no pain, we'd be just like, la 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 la, everything is so merry. And then so we get carried away into what you called as the life model of being born, going to school, taking a certain degree, taking a certain type of job so you could be considered successful, mowing your lawn, getting married, having X number of kids, getting a mortgage, working for so long, retiring, and then stopping and doing nothing, and then dying. So it's like that, you know what I mean? So I mean, there, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's beautiful. But
Mhm.
for what we are discovering in this ascension of planetary ascension is that a lot of people actually imagine planetary ascension, 5D ascension, as the Earth like levitating and going up this. It's really not. It's putting more light into who we really are, and the irony is that for us to really shed light on the immense perfection that there is inside, that we are as a creation, we need to experience those things, the dark side. And so that's the irony of it, but it is a beautiful irony. I can honestly say, because life is so much more authentic, like you talked about earlier, with me, Karen, just you and I, is that being authentic, being true to who you are. And that is such a freaking liberating thing to be able to do. I tell you, like it's the polarity of being unable to show up and speak up compared to just being, this is who I am and this is what I stand for. You can either love me or hate me. It's all good. It's all part of what
Mhm.
is. It's just I guess that is the kind of intergenerational transformation that we want to be able to impact here in Women Unleashed, is that the full acceptance of who we are. And often this full acceptance is on the other side of fear. It's on the other side of, can I really do this? Can I really achieve what I want to achieve? With you, Karen, I want to ask you, because one of the things, a lot of people that watch Women Unleashed, they are multi-passionate entrepreneurs, they are mystics and coaches and healers, and so they have a big mission. And I guess
Mhm.
for women like us, one of the most well, not scary, but most shocking things or stories to hear about is going through a business overturn, if you will, and you
Mhm.
went through that. So, what was and you mentioned this really important phrase before. Some things that happened to you is partly because you deserve them. So, take me through this experience in your business. Yeah, what was the biggest lesson there for you?
um, have lots of money. No. um, uh, the biggest lesson for me in that is really that I think I made like I saw that as that's what I that in order for me to be truly successful in my calling as a hospitality professional, that's the, to be an owner is the right. You are the right. That's the maybe the
The epitome.
height of
You with me.
right. And so, and I've always been one to strive to be my very best, to be the most, to be all in, to like not settle for anything less than everything I can give. And so it was that I'm not sure, when I look at it now, as am building what I'm building now, I don't want to build a business. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't like, that's not who I am. That's not my strength. That's not where my genius comes through. and maybe I would build that with other people. And I think that that was that lesson, in that it was very much a solo mission. I was a chef owner, I was the chef, I was the owner, I was the dishwasher and the accountant and the marketing person and everything, as you do with a small business. And I can do that, and I have the skills and ability to do that, but it's not what my best, it's not what I'm here to give. It's not using my my very best
Mm.
to help the world.
That is
That, and
a
so I
powerful
think that
message.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, for being so honest, for being so authentic about it, because it's if I was if you know if you indulge me in the in
Yeah.
understanding what I heard from you, and this is one of the biggest follies, if you will, of many
Hmm.
entrepreneurs. I've interviewed over 5,000 business owners myself. I used to be a business banker for one of the biggest banks in Australia. This is before I was an entrepreneur. And so I know, having spoken to that many business owners, I understand the psychology behind why they want to have their own business. And what I've found, and you nailed it in the head, is that because the statistics show that 90 to 95% of businesses will fold, which means will not succeed
Hmm.
in the first 12 months. So that is just statistically true, right? And coming from what you said there, Karen, I can't believe that we're actually veering into a business side in our talk today, but it's great. We'll
Yeah.
because because a lot what I've found that many business owners make a mistake with is that they get this burning desire. I want to create my own. I want to be a business owner. I want to make a lot of money. I have this skill. I'm so good at this. I'm going to do this. And then when it doesn't work in the first 6 to 8 months, they get so disheartened and give up. And the thing is that, like what you said, you don't want to be someone who's leading a business. Maybe you will do it with someone else, like you said. Maybe. Because you have realized that you have a particular strength that's not necessarily the one that will hold up the triangle. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners need to realize, is to realize your strength. Because some business owners actually like to be in the background and just run it like that, and so it doesn't even look like they own the
Mhm.
business, because they know that it's not their strength, and so they get someone else who's good at that, and they empower those people to run. This is what they call the concept of masterminding in the book Think and Grow Rich. I think it's concept number 4, which is really there's a story about Henry Ford, for example, the guy who invented the car from the
Mhm.
horse to the car. And he was in court, and he was being questioned for not having enough education, and who did he think he was to invent and to create and to become wealthy, or something along those lines. And his answer was,
Huh.
why would I need to be educated when I can hire someone and pay someone who has enough education and do that for me? And so it was really like, it's such an eye opener. So I guess it's an inspiration that I want to relay to a lot of people that could be watching now, is that to be authentic to who you are. If it's not your strength, it's okay. Self
Mhm.
love and self acceptance is the foundation of living your life to the fullest. As I mean, would you agree, Karen?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And a whole lot of self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? Like every day asking the questions. I spend a lot of time in that, in intentionality about everything that I do. Like, is this my truth? Is this truly my truth, or am I just reacting or doing what I've been, told to do, or what everybody else does? Is this my truth? I spend a lot of time in that
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
okay to ask oneself that question, because I know some people, it can be very, very uncomfortable to ask yourself, like to even just say to yourself, is this my truth? I was a long time ago. I wouldn't even say it to myself because it was so confronting. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
now I wanna really explore this beautiful thing that you do, where you are the dancing lady. Tell me about this endeavor. How does it make you feel, the movement, and why do you do it?
Oh gosh. Why do I do it? I do it for a lot of reasons. It is exercise for me, both physically and spiritually and mentally. Particularly, I dance in the streets in my neighborhood with my dog, and I dance down the street. And it took me a long time to do that without having, when people would drive by and the thoughts would go into my head, oh, what are those people thinking? And there's this, people don't dance down the street. They jog, they ride their bike, they do a whole bunch of things, but people don't typically dance down the street. And so it's been that practice of physically exercising, spiritually exercising, because I believe that in movement, we move our energy and we move it out and we share it. And I like to do a thing when I dance, particularly if I'm dancing in a group, is that sort of like sprinkling, sprinkling energy, and like all that I am, and taking all that love that I have for everyone, for life, for this incredible journey, and then sort of sharing that and letting that come out. And in movement, it just happens. It's really, it's powerful to me how much it helps in that, and also helps me move through challenges, things that I'm struggling with. If I put on some music and I move, um, I can work that through. I can let it like release, or so much easier than if I meditate. For me, I think it's moving meditation. Uh, and then the last thing is when I really started to be free to dance in public. And when I say dance, I'm not really, I'm not a trained dancer at all. I never took any dance lessons. I was an athlete, but definitely not a dancer. And so the movements were really just what came natural to me. You know what? Like, my movements are just my movements. And when I felt free to do that, and uh, around people, um, the reaction that I would get from people was just amazing. Like, if I was at some place where it was like everybody was dancing, or a lot of people were dancing, like a show or music event, there would always be women that would come up to me and say, I want to be you. I want to be able to do that. I want to be free to just dance like nobody's watching, really, to just let it out and have fun and be free. And I always tell them, you are me, right? Like, you have that within you. If you feel the need, if you feel the urge, just explore it and let it happen. But also in just general public, the grocery store, the like you're pumping gas, right? Even if I don't even have music on, there's always music in my head. There's all, and I just have a little groove going. When I worked for the last 3 seasons at a ski resort. And so I ran a line where there was, in a day, hundreds and thousands of people that come through this line. You're really directing traffic. And it was a perfect situation to be able to do your job and also dance at the same time. So I would have a little speaker and I would do my job and I would dance, and it just lit people up. Some lady said, if I'm having a bad day on the mountain and I'm struggling, I get up, I head straight over to the lift you're working, and that instantly turns me around. We've probably never spoke other than that. It's this ability to then entertain people, but also I think what people feel is the love that I'm sharing, that there's this energy around it. And I play music that has good message, and I'm happy. And so I share that with people, and share that joy. And that's what they feel. They feel that in the motion. So yeah, so I just want to dance all the time because it
Hmm.
makes me happy and it makes other people happy. It's just like this lovely little loop of happiness.
Yeah, well, that's really deep. That's so deep when you say, yes, it entertains people, but more importantly, it allows them to feel the love that you are emanating. I think Very true, very deep. And the wonderful thing about it is very simple and very accessible if we want to access it.
Mm-hmm.
You can like it's a you can create like a worldwide movement on this because I can there we have this little Wednesday markets, organic market here where I live, and there's always music, and there's a man who gets up and dance all the time, even before every time the markets are on, and I always look
Mm-hmm.
at him and I feel what you're saying, the energy of love. And yes, we all have energy of love, but it's different when you are sharing it unapologetically, because this is what I have and I'm offering this to you, which is, it's like I acknowledge the light in me, which also shines in you, but you're actually actively serving it to people. And I love that. I feel that, and you said a very important thing before, like people walk on streets, ride their bikes on streets, and it's acceptable. So then why shouldn't be dancing just as, yeah. um that's really cool of a way of eh, yeah, of putting it that way, because it's moving meditation, like you said. And I'm such a big fan of moving meditation. I When I first started to learn meditation years ago, I could not sit still. And so for those who are only just starting meditation, I could not sit still. So I had to do, and even now, this is my favorite one, is moving meditation and doing
Mm-hmm.
yoga, not dancing. But it's so, I wanted to, before I forget, about the movement that you say, is that I was talking to someone about power move. This is about showing up and speaking up. And this particular person last night was reminding everyone, you've got to have a power move so you can really speak up. And it could be like you stand straight, stand tall, chest
Oh,
out. And I said to them, well, my power move is a ballerina dance. That's my activation move. Like I just do a little bit of a. I can't do the for the life of me. If you tell me to do a masculine power move like this, no, I'll have to just do this. Be like, ooh. But yeah, like, so I get you. It's so deep, it's so important, but the wonderful thing is so simple. But
mm-hmm.
my question, Karen, is
Mm-hmm.
how did you overcome the thoughts in the beginning that was plaguing your mind, saying, oh, don't do that because people are looking at you and you look crazy? And how did you navigate through those negative thoughts?
Um, well, well, first it was a long journey of, I had a period of time that, um, I want to say probably 3 years, where I had the ability where I was working a part-time job as a barista, and I had a lot of time to myself, and I literally would walk for hours in the woods, and just process everything and cry and ask questions and listen and ask more questions and work through all of the stuff that I was feeling, and that I was and that so it was this healing journey of getting to a point where, because I really didn't see myself as a beautiful masterpiece, I saw myself as um, in some way broken, and in some way um, unworthy. And so I had to get to that point. And once I got to that point where I knew that and I could see it, like literally see it, like see yourself in that, like as light, as love, as all of it, and and not only see it, but see it, how it works in the world, how you are in the world, the effect that you have on people, the way you touch people. Um, and so when I got to that point, and then I started to do um, the dancing and the working through the narratives in my head, I just kept coming back to that. Well, it doesn't change, whatever they're thinking doesn't change anything. And what I came up with was, I don't know what they're thinking. Why am I telling this story? So it became an instantaneous, when the thought would come through my head, like, oh, they think I'm crazy, or they think I'm on drugs, or right? Then I would stop myself and I would tell us. different story. And I would say, no, what do I think they're saying? Because I can tell any, I, I can decide anything because I don't know what they're thinking. And so why don't I tell something good? And why don't I say, oh gosh, they're thinking, gosh, that lady's really happy. I can be happy too.
Yeah.
And um, that's, and it became when those thoughts came through, not oh gosh, it was like, no, right now, think of a new story, tell a new story, attach it to that person that you just saw, attach, right, however that looks like. If it's walking by somebody's house and somebody will see me and like turn and go away so that they don't have contact with me, that kind of thing. Like, don't make eye contact with the crazy person. And that, and that would happen. And instead of telling that story that, they don't want to make eye contact with me, I would just say, oh, I think they probably have laundry. That's because it doesn't really matter. It's I'm the one that pays the price. They don't care. That it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me if I don't let it. So, and once I just started that practice and doing it religiously, just like, no, I'm not going to accept these stories. I'm going to tell a new one right now. It just became easier and easier and easier. And pretty soon you don't tell those stories. You're constantly telling, you know, happy stories until somebody tells you that, yeah, I used to like, oh, what's with that lady? And then I'd say, and they'd say, but the more that I watched you, the more I realized, and got to know you, I realized what that is. So I do know that people do still think some things, but I don't choose to tell that in my head. I choose to tell different things.
Wow, that is beautiful and powerful. It's the decision to change the narrative is really on us, and it is a powerful, beautiful practice of self-love, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I feel like a lot of people can hear the concept because I talk about this all the time. You have the voice. You can replace the voice with a better story, with a positive proof. And many might be saying by this point, but Grace, it's easy for you to say because you've already embodied the habit, but it's not easy for me to do. But if you pay attention to what Karen had just told you, she took the time to be still, to listen. In her case, it was 3 years of a lot of solitude and walking. You might not have 3 years, but I'm pretty sure you have time within the week to sit in stillness, in quiet, away from the chatter, the inner chatter and the outward chatter. Like, think about practical things, right? You have an hour at night that you dedicate to Netflix. How can you use that hour in a better way to be still, to have an inner quiet time? If you can't sit in meditation, don't. That's the worst thing you can do. Maybe go for a walk, maybe even do the laundry or wash the dishes and have some, some meditation music. Just replace something that is so replaceable and so not really useful, like a Netflix binge every night, into a practice. Like, just go inwards, because that is the thing. That's the difference, is that we can have the intention. So here's the thing about intention, right? Intention, affirmation, and all these. It's not going to work if you don't do the action behind it. Like, you can affirm all the way till the cows go home in your journal. If you don't do the action, well, then it's not going to work. What Karen did is took the time to confront her voices, talk to herself and talk to Mother Gaia or Earth, and ask questions, listen, ask again, cry, scream. It's almost like yeah, and I can bet Karen, not all of those moments would have been comfortable, right? um
Oh gosh, no. Yeah.
yeah.
There was a that was a powerful time in my life. And I will never forget the day that I was on the trail and I was walking and listening, and I just heard say, you're done here. Your time here is done. leave, go out in the world and be in the world. You're spending way too much time in the woods walking by yourself. You're designed to be out in the world touching people's lives in simple ways every day. And so that was really powerful, and feeling like, you're right, I'm ready, okay, let's do this. And so now, it's not like I never walk on the trail. I do almost every day, but I don't spend hours and hours there. And it is my sanctuary. It's the place I go when I know I need to recharge, when I need to get back and see myself in all my glory. That's where I go. That's what I feel like sanctuary is, right? Is that place where you feel safe and supported and are able to see yourself as divine.
Yeah.
Um, and then to be able to then take that back out into the world and hold it, because it's hard in the world. It's hard to walk through a day, with that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That, yeah, never underestimate the power of going inwards, even if it's just for 2 minutes.
Hmm.
I mean, I that's really all I come back to as a woman, is the power of now. Things could be happening around me, left, right, and center, and just I'd feel there are moments that I'd feel like there's a thing called, oh my god, this is a terrible visual, but it's what I can think of right now. It's like, that pulled pork meat, like when you eat like a taco.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that way, I'm being pulled in many different, but I just come back into the power of now, go inwards, like
Hmm.
is now here. It is a practice, but this is a true illustration of what we go through, and the beauty of those practices. And so, Karen, I thank you so much, for sharing that with us. How can we be inspired by you and follow you? Where can we find you?
I do most of my work on Instagram, at Karen the Dancing Lady, but it's also on Facebook, and I do have a YouTube channel. They're all Karen the Dancing Lady, and yeah, that's where
Yeah.
you can find me.
Awesome. Well, ladies, yeah, jump on Instagram if that's all where most of the action is. So that'll be Karen the Dancing Lady. So that's just go in Instagram, just type in Karen the Dancing Lady. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing. And do you have any final stories or insights for us today before we say goodbye?
um, well, I'd love to plant a thought, um, because it's truly what my mission from here um, is when you were introducing me as, frontline firefly. That's what, and to me the frontline is that place where you see people, the grocery store, the cashier, the bartender, the barista, the delivery driver. When you really break down who you see in a day, I think as a barista, I would see people far more than I would ever see my friends. So it's that powerful place. And I truly believe that if we start to move away from seeing those positions as bodies to serve us, they can become lights to guide us, because they are the people that we see on a regular basis. And that's what I really want.
Wow, that is deep again. And I want to honor you saying that, because what I want to say from what Karina just shared, the plant that she wanted the seed that she wanted to plant in our hearts. And this is a very real example from a person like myself who works from home. So I run my business from home. So I now don't, the frontline people that I see are the checkout people at the grocery store. When I buy my gasoline, or we call it petrol in Australia,
Mhm.
when I go to pay that, when I go to retail shops that I need to access for suppliers and whatnot. And she mentioned about instead of bodies who serve us, see them as the light that teach us and guide us. And they so are. They so are, because for me, being alone and working the business at home and just working with people online and actually seeing someone in the flesh and getting that energy from them as they interact with me is such a heaven sent for me. Because when I have someone who's helping me with my groceries, for example, and they give me this big smile and actually say to me, "How are you going today?" For me, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel connected. We don't have to have a long, deep conversation, but we had eye contact. And when you sink into this energy of the present moment, that's really often all that you need in order to come back to who you really are as light being yourself. And isn't that beautiful? I feel that that is an insight that hasn't been, I don't think I've ever heard anyone give us that guidance before you, Karen. We need to have your message spread even more because it's so important. So I thank you so much. You're
You're
an
welcome.
amazing
Yeah.
lady. Awesome.
As are you, as we all are.
Mm, beautiful.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, and we will hang out with you at Karen the Dancing Lady on Instagram. For those who are tuning in with us today, I'm grateful for your energy, grateful for your presence. Thank you for being here. We will see you again on the next episode of Women Unleashed. That will be on Sunday morning for Australia, Saturday evening for you guys that are on the other side of the world. On behalf of Karen and I's hearts, thank you. We love you. Stay amazing. Bye for now.